Thank you very much. And I would like to thank the committee for holding this hearing, which even 40 years after Roe versus Wade is a sign of the power of a human rights dream that refuses to die. No matter how much abortion is legal, Americans, including American women especially, have never and will never make their peace with it. In my remarks today, I'm going to address 2 points. First, that neither American lawmakers nor citizens, especially women, understand abortion as a public good. And second, that abortion is not part of any women's health agenda, even out of the lips of our own federal government in its own statements. In my first point, it's understood by lawmakers and citizens that abortion is different from anything else the federal government might fund. It's unlike the use of the federal budget, which is for things that support and promote human life versus death, versus insecurity and want. Our Supreme Court has said abortion is not like any other medical procedure. Perhaps this is because, as Justice Stevens and Ginsburg have acknowledged, some of these procedures are, quote, brutal or gruesome. Or as Justice Kennedy and a majority have acknowledged, abortion kills. Finally, President Obama has opined that he wishes abortion to be rare, and it's a tragic matter. The state legislatures recognize the same thing and have passed a record number of laws restricting abortion in the last 2 years. Even the most strenuous supporters of legal abortion, Planned Parenthood has acknowledged that there is, in their words, a baby growing inside a pregnant woman such that abortion ends her life. How disturbing then it is that supporters of abortion would continue to urge its funding while acknowledging that it's killing. And the reason they claim is women's health and rights, which is the 800-pound gorilla in the room every time abortion is debated, including today. So let me turn to that. It's no longer contestable that for decades, and a particularly good Rand Corporation study I've cited shows this, women have been more pro-life than men, lesser educated are more pro-life than the privileged, and the poor are more pro-life than the wealthy. This translates also to the matter of abortion funding, where we have the particularly disturbing data point that the well-off support abortion funding for the poor more than the poor support it for themselves. Investigations of women's voting patterns turn up the same information. Women don't vote because of abortion or in favor of abortion funding. Finally, when you look at federal sources or documents that are engaging in promoting women's health, you don't find any mention, let alone promotion, of abortion or abortion funding. The Centers for Disease Control doesn't even keep regular or required records on this. The federal government seems decidedly uncurious about abortion and women's health. After Surgeon General Koop in 1989 said studies on the relationship between these were insufficient and recommended long-term studies, the government never did them. I vividly recall my membership on the NIH Council that addresses women's health and asked for one question about abortion and women's health to be put on studies, and it never was. Despite the fact that increasingly European studies, including meta-analyses involving 900,000 women, are showing a relationship between abortion and mental health outcomes that are problems for women. In addition to the federal government's having no firm ideas about the numbers of abortions or its impact on women, or a lack of curiosity about it, if you look at all the major federal reports on women's health issued from HHS, from NIH, from the White House, and they're all detailed in my studies, what do you see in these when the government is actually dispensing women's health advice? No mention of abortion or abortion funding. Rather, frank acknowledgement that a woman is carrying, in their words, unborn baby. You see them addressing what the CDC identifies as the serious threats to women's health, heart disease, stroke, cancer, not abortion. You see them recommending that women avoid substances during pregnancy that could, quote, damage your baby. In conclusion, the federal government has collected no useful data about the relationship between abortion and women's health. When it does offer advice, it recommends health care for women and her, quote, unborn baby. Credible studies are indicating distress for women following abortion. By themselves, these facts indicate how H.R. 7 serves women. But there's another service H.R. 7 might perform. Regular squabbles over federal funding for abortion too often take the place of debates about what women actually need and say they want. Debates about paid leave or Social Security benefits for women's care work. Instead of debating ideas about how to end poor women's cycle of poverty or non-marital childbearing, we continue to debate abortion in this country. It's time once and for all to settle the matter of abortion funding across federal legislation and move on to a real women's agenda. Thank you.